Happy Monday. Thanks for starting your week with us here on Seahawks Today. Tyler Jones here with the latest Seattle Seahawks news and rumors as we are talking about Darrell Taylor, Bobby Wagner, Bryan Mone, and more coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we get to any of that, though, we're getting very, very close to 38.5 thousand subscribers on the channel. Almost there, but we need your help to get there. You may be asking yourself, why should I subscribe to the channel? Well, if you do, you're going to get daily news and rumors, our live shows on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Our watch parties are going to be back during the season as well, and there's plenty more on the channel, including mailbags and other things to your liking. So do us a favor, subscribe to the channel now for the latest happenings on your favorite team. And the best part about it doesn't cost you a thing. Absolutely, 100% free, guaranteed. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. Let's reach that next milestone together. 38.5K, 59 away from doing so. Subscribe now, youtube.com/SeahawksTV, and we'll get started with today's show. On the hot seat, according to SI's All Seahawks, they are suggesting that Darrell Taylor is in danger of losing his starting job. That you look at that outside linebacker spot, and on one side, you have Uchenna and Nwosu, but on the other side, that there's some uncertainty with Darrell Taylor lacking consistency and some of those young cats that are emerging and that would love to take on that role. So, what does that mean for Darrell Taylor? Here's more from SI's All Seahawks. Now entering his fourth season with the organization, Taylor has all of the physical tools to be a starter-caliber outside linebacker, and if he puts everything together, the sky seems to be the limit for him as a pass rusher with a quick first step. Excellent bend to the turn, the corner on blockers, and also punching the ball out. But he is to show stark improvements as a run defender, both in terms of mindset and physicality, to give himself the opportunity for more snaps as a starter to manufacture more pass rushing opportunities. There's no denying whatsoever that Darrell Taylor is a very good pass rusher. That's not the problem at all. But literally everything else, when you look at Darrell Taylor's game, is an issue. It is a problem for the Seahawks. In particular, when it comes to run defense, that's not great for Darrell Taylor. And for the Seahawks, if what this team is looking at, in particular, with trying to get this run defense where it needs to be, you got to be well-rounded. You can't just, if you're going to be a full-time starter, be good at one thing. And that's the problem that they have with Darrell Taylor right now. Darrell Taylor, a 2020 second-round pick out of Tennessee, started 3 games last season, played in 16 games total, and he tied for the Seahawks' lead in sacks as well as forced fumbles in 2022 with 9.5 sacks and 4 forced fumbles. And those statistics, they look good when you look at a guy that had a total of 26 tackles, 9.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery. All of that looks good, but that doesn't tell the full story. That's where we go to the nerd numbers from Pro Football Focus to kind of tell us the whole story here with Darrell Taylor. And let's dive into that and show you what those numbers are from PFF. As you can see, the nerd numbers say overall grade 58, run defense grade 40.7, pass rush grade, as we mentioned, very good, 74, but then the coverage grade 40.7 as well, not so great. So the numbers back up what we're talking about here. Really good in pass rush. Everything else, not so hot for Darrell Taylor. And you look at the depth chart, where things stand right now. Boye, Mafe, Smith, you got Hall, Alton Robinson. I mean, there's some guys there that are going to be competing, that are going to be pushing Darrell Taylor for everything here. So we'll see. Pressure's on Darrell Taylor. At the very least, he could be a very good rotational backup. If he does lose his job, there's still a place for him on this team. But pressure's on Darrell Taylor to get the job done. So, sound off in the comment section, our pinned comment today. Will Darrell Taylor lose his starting job? Chime in. Tell me what you think. Y for yes, in for no. Our pinned comment today. You might get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it. Tell me what you think one way or the other. Will Darrell Taylor lose his starting job? Y for yes, in for no. Today's show is sponsored by Z-Biotics. Let's face it, After y'all hit me with a bunch of super chats, I don't bounce back well until the next day. That is, until I found Z-Biotics. Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Z-Biotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. It's designed to work like your liver, but in your gut, where you need it most. Drink Z-Biotics before drinking alcohol. Drink responsibly and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. So here is the product in all its glory, and you can see it comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bottles. And the best part about it, too, easy for traveling purposes as well. Go to zbiotics.com/chatsports or scan the QR code on the screen right now to get 15% off your first order when you use code ChatSports at checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription as well, so you can stay prepared no matter the time or occasion. Z-Biotics is backed with 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. That's zbiotics.com/chatsports. Use code ChatSports at checkout for 15% off. Thank you, Z-Biotics, for sponsoring today's video. Moving on now, let's talk about Bobby Wagner. A lot of excitement about Bobby Wagner making his return to the Seattle Seahawks in 2023. NFL.com has named Bobby as the Seahawks' most likely non-quarterback MVP candidate. So if you were to talk about MVP and not talk about Geno Smith, Bobby would be the next guy in line, according to NFL.com. Let's show you what they had to say. The return of Wagner, even at age 33, could be a massive development for a Seattle team that improved in a lot of ways last season, but struggled badly to contain opponents' run games. Wagner can't do it himself, and he is on the back nine of his career, but the Seahawks added other defensive pieces up front alongside Wagner, seemingly determined not to let the Achilles heel of 2022 swell up again this upcoming season. You can't be blamed for not tuning in to Rams games regularly after a certain point last season, but trust me when I say that Wagner was amazing. So there you have it from NFL.com. Now, I wouldn't necessarily put Bobby in the MVP conversation. Traditionally speaking, when it's not a quarterback, then it usually goes to a running back. We hardly ever are talking about defensive players winning the MVP. So as good as Bobby could be, history tells us that defensive players just aren't going to get considered. With that said, taking that out of the equation there, just talking about Bobby Wagner and what the expectations are for his performance this upcoming season, I think you're going to see one of the best seasons of Bobby Wagner's career. And one thing I keep having to remind people, when I go into the comments section, people are talking about Bobby Wagner having a bounce-back season or something like that. And as was mentioned in that NFL.com article, no, he actually had a great season last year in Los Angeles with the Rams. Just nobody paid attention because of how bad that Rams team was. Bobby Wagner goes to a different team, new system and everything, and he did not lose a step last year. And so now he comes to Seattle, a place he's very familiar with, obviously. I think you're going to see Bobby Wagner play great this year and have a huge impact on this Seattle Seahawks team and be the best defensive player on this roster as far as I'm concerned. Here's what I'm talking about last year, folks, of what he brought to the Los Angeles Rams. 140 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 5 pass breakups, 2 interceptions. Really good. Compared to the year prior in Seattle, 170 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 5 pass breakups, and 1 interception. Sure, the tackles numbers were down, but the tackles for loss went way up. His interceptions went up. Pass breakups were the same. And then when we go to the nerd numbers from PFF, here's what I mean, folks. As far as Bobby Wagner looking really good last year, even if you weren't paying attention. You know what he was doing in L.A.? Oh, yeah, overall grade near 91. Run defense grade 91 as well. Pass rush grade near 80. Coverage grade around 78. Just outstanding from Bobby Wagner. And the Seahawks got him at a discount at this age. So a lot of reason to be excited about what Bobby Wagner brings to Seattle here in 2023. If you think Bobby Wagner is going to have a big year, which I think everybody should believe in Bobby, as he puts 54 back on, spam 54 as many times as you can in the comments. If not, if for whatever reason you're doubting Bobby Wagner, which I don't know why you would, then comment and tell me why you don't think he's going to have a big year. Let me know in the comments section one way or the other how you feel as far as Bobby Wagner goes entering 2023. Final note before we wrap up on today's show, as Seahawks training camp nears, the return of nose tackle Bryan Mone remains in doubt. Not looking too hot as far as his status goes of making a comeback in time for the 2023 season for the Seahawks. Pete Carroll, a while back, had this to say on the situation. It's been a little bit of an up and down for him. It hasn't been quite as forward-moving as some of the recoveries. He's a huge guy, 360 pounds, so it's harder on him than it is other guys. He's working really hard. He's been here the whole time. He's been dedicating himself to it. We're hoping he'll make it back. We're counting on him. So here's what you need to know on Bryan Mone's situation. He suffered a torn ACL week 15 versus the San Francisco 49ers. So very late in the season that this occurred. In January, according to Pete Carroll, he went through a very difficult surgery that they found things they didn't know about before, that the surgery and the process of recovery was worse than they initially thought it was going to be when the whole thing started. So not great on that end. He signed a 2-year, $11 million extension last offseason. So it's not a bad contract per se. And so you would love to see a player that's on that type of deal obviously be on the field. And so then what? What do? Not a whole lot of depth at the position without having Bryan Mone there. You got the rookie Cameron Young. He's a possibility. Miles Adams has experience, of course, in the interior of the defensive line. You could potentially play him, but there's not some foolproof solution here. And the depth is an issue. If you don't have Bryan Mone available, you got a big problem on your hands as far as that goes if you're the Seattle Seahawks with that situation. So what is your level of concern right now at the nose tackle position? If you had to scale it for me, 1 through 10, what would you put your level of concern at? Let me know in the comments section. 1 through 10, what your level of concern is, where you sit on this situation, let me know. Hit me up on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Also recently joined Threads as well at Tyler Jones Live, talking about your Seattle Seahawks. Thanks for starting your week with us. Make it a great one. We'll see you next time right here on Seahawks Today.